Hello, this is my video submission for Article Analysis 3, How Global is Your C-Suite? The first question being, what is the major overriding issue in this article? With many companies globalizing their operation, the diversity at the top management level is called into question when many of the people at the top management level are not native to the country in which they're operating in. The importance of diversity at the top management level is emphasized in this article, and especially should be emphasized in globalization. Operating out of a foreign country, management should be representative of that foreign country and the people within it in order to best serve the needs and the interests of the country and the people within it. So question 2, who are the stakeholders? I said the companies, the countries, and the people within these countries that are being employed by these companies. The countries, I said, have strengths because they obviously have some type of advantage that these companies are trying to profit off of, whether it be their labor force, their natural resources, the untapped market that they have. There's something there that's drawing these companies to these countries. So opportunities include the creation of the jobs, even if it's at the lower level of the companies. Weaknesses, however, comes from the fact that local businesses may not be able to compete with these global corporations that are encroaching into their markets. A threat to the country would be the fact that despite the creation of jobs and the effects it's going to have on the economy, the vast majority of the profits being made is probably going to be outsourced and shipped out to the home country of the corporation. So it won't be spent or used within the economy of the country it is benefiting off of. As for the employees and the people living within these countries, they might be employed, they might receive a slightly higher salary than what they're used to making within their companies, but that is a short-term benefit. In the long term, their overall satisfaction with their job and the company is not going to increase. It really sucks working within a company where you feel like you have no control, no say, no influence in what the decisions are made. Like, you're just there to be a cog in the machine. And I made a comparison to CVS, like a large retailer like CVS, where there might be issues, complaints at the store levels that might, if handled at the top, might increase worker experience and customer service experience. But because there is no direct line to the CEO of CVS from, a cashier in one of their stores, these complaints are probably never going to be heard unless there's a significant monetary value attached to it, which probably won't be. So it's just very disheartening, and it's not a good, feeling to work in a corporation like that where you're just there to make a salary. It doesn't really matter any other way. So I said for the companies, the major threat is the fact that employees would prefer to work for the local businesses and the companies where they feel like they have an opportunity to grow and where they feel like they matter. Like I said, the benefits that these companies are going to bring to these countries is probably going to be short-lived. It's going to be short-term. In the long term, the companies, the corporations are going to lose the employees that they were able to pull when they first got there. And then there is still benefits for them because operating in a foreign countries, it's probably a lot cheaper than trying to operate within their home country, especially like if it's the United States. Labor costs, production costs is probably a lot cheaper, especially if they're operating within a developing country. The issue at being discussed in this article is, I said, managerial in nature. Probably didn't say that right. For a company to exist in a foreign country, for it to employ foreign labor and profit off of foreign money, and yet it is solely run by someone or a team from an entirely different country is discouraging and kind of a slap in the face. First, there is little to no representation of the foreign country and the people at the top level where decisions are being made. A team of managers or a CEO operating out of the U.S. cannot make decisions in the best interest of the facilities and the workers in the Philippines in which they have a factory or a company or a store. The way a manager from the U.S. might try to resolve a situation at his or her Philippine location might be different from how the workers who in the Philippines would attempt to resolve it. Like I said, some of these companies would probably try to, outsource or maybe insource their management team. If they're opening a facility in the Philippines, they might send a manager from the U.S. to the Philippines to manage it, which is probably not a smart decision because the manager from the U.S. is not familiar with the environment, with the community of the Philippines. So if a situation arises that requires, like a quick solve or, a long-term solution, whatever the case may be, they might not have the best solution because they're operating from a knowledge that does not really pertain to the environment in which they are working in. And if no representation of the people in the Philippines and the people that live there is on the team that makes the decision, then decisions being made concerning the facilities that is in that country, like the Philippines, will not be sound, and it might lead to issues in the long run. So my reaction, reading this the first time kind of made me think about the apartheid system in South Africa and how that was run. Obviously, that is a very extreme comparison. I'm more so thinking about the fact that an all-white government ruling over a foreign country of Black people and how that, trickled down and affected the people in the country. So obviously, the government was able to accumulate generations of wealth, and yet, even with all of that, they allow their ideologies, their biases to govern over the decisions that they made in respect to the people in the country. So obviously it was racially motivated, but the same could be said for a multinational company with a facility in a developing country, especially if they're from the U.S., where obviously, racism, ideologies, biases do tend to, run rampant. So not only will they not be able to make decisions that is in the best interest of the country that they're operating in and the people, they might allow their ideologies and their biases to influence the decisions that they make, which might negatively impact the country and the people, the foreign country and the people that, that are affected by them. My recommendations is that the management team within these foreign countries should be made up of natives to these foreign countries. I don't want to say it's okay for like the CEO of the business or the people surrounding him to be strictly from the home country that the company originated in, but sometimes it's unavoidable. If a company was started in the U.S., its CEO is going to be an American citizen. The people that join the team first are probably going to be American citizen because that is what was, closely around. That's the resources that were closely around, the people that were closely around during the stages of that development. But when these corporations expand out of the U.S., they should have people managing these facilities, these stores, whatever business that they're in. They should have people managing it that are from the country that they're expanding to. yeah, it's in the best interest of everybody. Obviously, they will be trying to do their job to the best of their abilities, but also that we have a connection to the environment, to the country that, the facility is operating out of, and that would be a concern to them rather than someone from the US coming in where they really don't have no connection and might not really care, to think about the country, the people in surrounding it, and what the implications of their decisions will be on them in the country. So yeah, this is my submission. Thanks.